Does it look right for 11 up there? All right, shall we stand and do our Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And good morning, one and all. Again, hope everybody had a good holiday. How about the agenda, fellas?
Motion to approve it. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. I'll call for vote, please. Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye. Pierschek, aye.
Did you get a chance to look over the minutes?
Yes, I did.
Any additions or corrections?
Looks perfect, so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay,
Second.
that's been moved and seconded on the minutes. Call for vote. Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye. Pierschek, aye.
Okay. Sheriff, you got the floor.
Which piece? There's
Well, this is, the tabled resolution
Okay.
clarification.
what was the resolution, 110?
Yep.
Yes.
Done some more research, did some updating with Julia. The only difference we could find anywhere, I found it in the state code in one place, actually two. One other place is chapter 5.2, paragraph 11, where it specifically talks about part-time supervisors. It's the only place I could find it. Talked to many counties. Doesn't appear like most of the counties or any of them have it in writing. They're going back to this piece in the code that says it's allowed. That's kind of where we're at.
Sure. Okay. And for clarification, to receive through IPERS, it has to be classified as a part-time position.
Yep.
Isn't that correct?
Yes. And then to clarify it in our handbook, we classified it as part-time position and then elected part-time position, Board of Supervisors.
This is for 5.1 on the insurance.
Yes.
The health insurance, isn't
Yep.
that correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And then that clarifies it.
Gentlemen, what questions have you? Gary, questions? I'm going to be very honest. I feel I would feel much more comfortable if we open that up as far as 5.1. If we're going to do it for part-time elected, that we should not slight the county employees and make it available to them as well, part-timers.
But
I
at
know
their-
that's a heck of a kick in the
But
budget.
whose cost then?
Well, just as it is currently. And you could have that, we have employees that are, and I don't know the numbers, obviously, but we have employees that are working 30, 32 hours. And quite honestly, that's on an average probably pretty comparable to what we do. There's weeks we do a heck of a lot more, weeks we do a heck of a lot less, again, on an average. So, that's where I'm at. I don't have a problem switching the verbiage, full-time to part-time. I have a problem maybe separating, one county employee from another, because elected officials are employees. That's where I'm at. But that's not in today's discussion, that's discussion for Tuesday. Isn't that correct? It's not on there.
The handbook is coming
The
to
handbook's
Tuesday.
on Tuesday.
Because you guys had to approve
Correct.
this first to go into the handbook and then the
Mhm.
whole revision comes back.
Yeah. So the resolution does have in there part-time and full-time elected, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, with the eligibility for full insurance coverage.
Supervisor shall be part-time position, yeah,
Mhm.
and benefits available to all
Yeah,
full-time employees.
and again, I don't have a problem with that, I just think that we need to treat everybody fairly and equally.
I've got some
Jerry, do you have a question?
questions, comments. When you switch from basically a full-time position to a part-time position, usually the pay is less.
Not necessarily,
Well,
yeah,
your pay is based on a full-time position right now.
of which, there's not a one of us here that knew that it was a full-time status, to be very honest with you.
Okay. But anyway, it is. And then the other question I've got, if you do this for one person, are you gonna do it for other people? Change
I think,
position to part-time so they can continue working after they draw their pension?
I think that's basically what I was referring to with the insurance
Yeah.
portion,
And
treating everyone alike.
right,
And I don't know how that would affect other departments.
say somebody wants to retire, draw their pension, but they wanna keep working. Are you gonna give them a,
I think they, quite honestly, such as the sheriff, he is no longer staying in law enforcement. He is switching to another office, if you will. Kind of a rare situation, but could that arise again? Of course that could arise
Well,
again. Mhm.
yeah, it could. Basically, Benton County is a business,
Mhm.
an employer, like where I worked. If I was in one position and retired, I could not go back to another position, even part-time.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the next question is if you do this and start giving all the part-time employees insurance benefits,
Mhm.
what's the cost to the taxpayers?
Right. That's what I said. I have no idea what the numbers were.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're,
to
'cause
be
you're setting
honest.
precedents here.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yep.
Your first question goes back to, the key word is elected. And the Code of Iowa makes provisions to move from an elected position to an elected position concerning IPERS. If you are a full-time employee and not elected, the code also makes provisions that you can go back to work. So this is all in code already.
Okay.
if it's there, then nothing needs to change, right?
The only thing that I would like it is to add, the words part-time. That coincides with what IPERS says works.
Seems to be a conflict between the Iowa code and the IPERS rules. Iowa code, which you think would supersede, states that there's no problems with doing what the sheriff's trying to do. IPERS says if you're a full-timer, you can't do it. So, and so you would end up
That's the
contesting
way
it.
most pensions are.
What's that?
That's the way most pensions are. If you're gonna draw your pension, you can't work full-time.
There's a piece in the code that says you can go from full-time to full-time. However, that has never been challenged and there's no case law on it.
Right.
But the going full-time to part-time is what's currently, has been challenged through the courts and everything, and that works. The other one was put in, is there a date on there, Rick?
Well, the only one here,
91 or 95?
January 1 of 99,
99.
part-time members who receive an annual salary or are paid per diem are also covered unless they choose to opt out. That's of IPERS.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's what I'll be doing, is opting out of Ipers.
So, I don't know if that totally answers your question, but, you know, somebody going from, let's say from Haley's office working full-time to perhaps, working part-time in another office, could they collect their IPers? That becomes an IPers question, you know, if they can. If they opt out of IPers, yes, they could, from the way this reads, basically.
When you say opt out,
In other
opt out
words-
is continuing to pay in.
Yes,
And the county would not pay in either, correct?
once,
But they would have to go to they can't stay full-time
Correct.
Correct.
You'd go
with
to
any job in
part-time.
the county.
Here. Yep,
Ipers says I have to give them a letter stating I'm gonna do that, and I have to give Haley this copy of the same letter, and then once you opt out, you can't get back in.
But you can collect your pension.
But I can collect my pension.
It just.
If I opt out, I can't work on building a second pension.
Okay.
and I guess if somebody from secondary roads retired and then went and worked part-time on maintenance, you know, it'd behoove them to opt out as well, rather than try to build a second, but, you know, that'd be up to them at that time, you know, but, yeah. So according to state code, they can do that, so.
Probably one of the bigger things though is if you start paying, you know, that's essentially a pretty good pay raise for all the part-time employees, if you start giving them insurance and a lot of money for the taxpayers to pay, I'm sure. I don't know,
And I
how many
think-
part-time employees are there in the county?
We have quite a few,
Yeah, I
Sure.
don't.
because then we have
exactly-
temporaries, like,
Is there 50? Or is there 25?
I would say more like 25, probably.
So,
Yeah.
and
And-
you figure,
And there's pieces in the code that also speak of part-time employment, of what is covered and what is not.
During the Fair Labor Standard Act, if they work over 30 hours, you have to offer insurance. But under that, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
because, you know, I don't know what insurance costs, but I'm sure it's a few $1,000s a month
Yeah.
per person, if not more.
Well, as I was indicating, you know, you said 30 hours is the Fair Labor Act.
30 to
Yeah.
32, yeah.
Yeah, and so, and that's where I was coming from. You got people that are classified part-time, working that 30, 32 range. Essentially, that's kind of like supervisor hours on an average, so.
Now, what about the trustees? Are they considered employees?
Townships?
Yeah,
No, but they can opt in or out of IPers as well on their forms.
but will this make them available for insurance too?
If they're not employees,
Or are they,
But they're elected officials too. I mean, township,
They're
most of
elected.
them, some of them are appointed, but, yeah, I don't know, that's a good question.
I don't know how many other elected positions there are.
So
That is
that
all,
does-
it's all in the code.
that does throw that part-time elected official thing into question.
It's in there.
Oh, crap.
It's all in the code.
So like do on our insurance rates, an estimate, for a single, $754 a month, family, $1,694.
Is that?
That would be
county
what the
pays?
employee and employer, so we pass off some of that to the employee, but yeah, that would be a good chunk of it
They're getting insurance for $750 a month.
for a single.
Really?
But we're through a pool with ISAC, and we're partially self-funded, so.
And the insurance folks don't care who we offer it to. You would check that out.
As long as they get their money.
That's all they want,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, so, but, so is that gonna create a problem with the part-time elected officials and trustees? I never stepped into that
It-
arena.
It's all explained in the code. And it goes
Yeah, because it's a lot of them that would be farmers, they'll want their insurance too.
It says receive an annual salary or a paid per diem, according to the Iowa code.
And then there's big lists of it.
Currently, we pay them per diem, like they could turn in a meeting or up to like minimum 2 hours per hour. That's how the townships are paid now.
Well, I know Iowa County, they're classified as part-time down there. There's 5 supervisors there.
Yeah.
And they get full benefits. That's Iowa County. Washington County, 5 again. Full benefits and all that, Iowa County, or excuse me, Washington County.
Dallas County,
Jones County, they are classified as full-time. That was one of the few, besides Cedar Rapids County, Johnson County, and Blackhawk County. Them are classified, but them
So,
supervisors gotta put in 40 hours a week.
so why couldn't we do this, switch this to a part-time position and have the insurance eligibility for people that, part-time employees that do work that 30, hour average?
and that is covered under FMLA too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that would make sense.
Because we have had to
That-
pay that to people.
And then that would also take care of the per diem issue for 2 hours paid for a trustee. I'm just talking through the hole in my head, trying to think this through so it doesn't come back and bite anybody on down the road. Pretty quiet over there, Gary.
I'm listening. I think pretty much everything's been said.
So if we pass the resolution with the, well, it doesn't say. It says supervisor shall be a part-time position with eligibility for full insurance coverage along with benefits available to all full-time employees. That's not stating anything with the, in the handbook is where it would have to be changed because it states there, part-time elected officials. The resolution's okay. The wordage for the handbook is not.
But then the handbook
That would be
goes
what she
on
wants to
and
change.
Yeah.
clarifies it to Board of Supervisors currently.
Because otherwise, the handbook says part-time employees pay their insurance premiums, so that's why this verbiage is needed in there.
Well, I get that. But it says all county employees are covered by these policies except elected officials, both full-time elected officials and part-time elected officials, Board of Supervisors.
And that clears this piece up. Now, if you wanna look at the rest of them, we could do that. And we'd have to go back and look at the classifications that they have in the code. Because it's different classifications for, part-time seasonal.
Correct.
It lists them all out in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it changes from, and it talks about the trustees and all that in there too.
In the Iowa code.
Yep.
So I think if you pass the resolution, then Julia knows to keep these changes in the handbook that she's gonna present next week for final approval.
I have a question where it says, Benton County provides group health insurance program for regular, full-time, and part-time elected officials and regular part-time employees who are eligible. Is that the 32 hours you're talking about?
Yes, if they're eligible, if they
Okay.
work that.
How does it work for, let's say, the weed commission hires somebody in March or whatever?
But that's a seasonal scenario
Yeah.
you're talking.
Yep.
Yeah,
Seasonal and temporary.
right.
Same with conservation, in the summer they have their
They
seasonal.
would, but, you know, we just, with mental health, we just authorized 30 hours for her.
Mona, or,
Michelle.
Michelle,
yes.
you know, and so, and I don't know if she needs insurance or she gets it through the region or what, you know, but again, the point I was trying to make, or I'll pick on Julia, who's sitting over there, you're what, about 32?
I do like 26 hours.
Okay. So, and again, if we can, you can put a number with that, you know. If it is 32 on an average, you know, I just think you need to make it available, treat everybody alike. Not the ones putting in 5 to 10 hours, for example,
And
You know.
it talks about that in there.
because you couldn't afford to pay that for.
Currently, we offer it, but it's at their cost.
Correct.
Yeah, 'cause $750 a month and 25 employees, you're talking over 200 grand a year, aren't you?
Right.
That's a single plan. They can choose a family
Yeah,
plan
if they
too.
take a family.
Depends what the classification of the employee is. If they're seasonal, then seasonal people don't get it.
Yeah. So, pretty well spoken piece.
Well, then I'll make a motion for resolution 24-110. Do it again.
To approve it. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded for resolution 24-110 to be approved. I will call for a vote. Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Appreciate aye.
Very good. Okay, now Sheriff, you got on here as well, authorized changes to the visa?
I put that
Is
on
it-
there.
Oh, you did?
So-
Okay,
If you recall, we've done that in the past when a department head leaves. I would like to cancel that current credit card and issue a new one, just for the fact that we don't know where that Visa number's stored, because sometimes it stays in your history, et cetera. And by the Farmers Bank, they require board action to do this change. So
Sure.
I'm asking that you do that so we can get that change and issued, so one can be coming on its way.
okay. And that'd be effective,
Where
I'll
are we
probably
going on
wait
it?
December 31st, I'll let her know,
Yeah.
not to deactivate that one until.
until then,
But-
yes, okay,
But I think we can get the new one ordered.
Yeah.
right,
With your action today.
okay. All right, swell.
Okay, I'll make a motion to change the sheriff's visa.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded to change the sheriff's Visa card as discussed. I'll call for vote. Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Appreciate aye.
Now we've got a retirement.
That may be changing from a
Yeah.
text I just got.
Yep, I talked to him too.
Okay.
He just wants to give you guys a heads up. He doesn't have the retirement date official yet, but just notifying you that he's going to be retiring.
Okay,
So you don't really need to take action now that
okay, so
we don't have
basically
a
it's tabled
official
for
date.
now.
Yep.
Okay. Do we need to table it officially, or?
I would, or you could just say you're gonna acknowledge Mark Johnson's upcoming retirement. We just don't have an effective date. So
Well,
I'll just
that-
bring it back.
That would work, yeah.
So
Okay.
if you just take whatever.
So is there a motion to acknowledge that upcoming retirement without a,
You're gonna have to do it again, so I just make a motion to table it.
okay, that'd work too.
That's my opinion. You're gonna have to do it again. when it's-
That's why I asked that, yeah. You want to second it, Gary?
Yep.
Okay, been moved and seconded to table that acknowledgement. Call for vote, Primer, aye.
Him and I,
Appreciate guy.
Okay, how about reports?
awesome.
Nada, okay. And any unfinished business going?
No point, but you're authorizing Julia to make these changes, right? So she can go forward, basically. Okay.
And how about any additional comments?
I'm here.
Good, okay. Well, I think we're at item 10, fellas.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to adjourn. I'll call for vote, Primer, aye.
Him and I.
Appreciate guy.
Next week's meeting gonna be on Monday too, or?
No,
No,
we're open
Tuesday.